Hi, today's topic is diabetes type 2, and I'm going to show you how to use nutrition as a form of intervention to reverse that condition so that you can no longer be diabetes type 2. So I'm going to be reading some of the notes here, as you can see. So let's just get some definitions quickly here. Type 1 is, diabetes type 1 is when your body, your pancreas, which is here under your chest, no longer produces insulin. So there's zero insulin, and the way to handle this is you have to take injections of insulin, the hormone. Type 2 is where the condition is you have too much insulin circulating in the blood, and the cells are unable to receive glucose to produce energy. So in your body you've got cells, and the cells do not receive the glucose, and which creates some problems. So what happens in terms of the problems that you encounter? So I'm going to look at the problems, and then I'm going to look at what happens when you have the glucose entering the cells. I'm Allan, nutrition expert. I help people restore their health using nutrition knowledge and help them become less dependent on drugs and medication. I help people reverse their illnesses naturally using drug-free solutions with the aim of bringing them back to the levels as they were when they were young: energetic, good memory, relaxed, calm, and handling stress naturally. So when no glucose is entering the cells, which means the glucose is not burning into energy, glucose is like fuel. The fuel needs to arrive in the cell and mixes with oxygen and burns and gets energy. So without energy you'll get tiredness, and with that will come poor memory, become forgetful, and there'll be mental fog that you're going to experience. You're going to have digestive issues with bloating. And you're going to find there's a lot of fat storage. Fat storage, you'll see the stomach sometimes bulges out here, or fat gets stored here. And what happens to the eyes? The eyes start getting damaged. It starts damaging the nerves, it starts damaging the neurons. When the nerves start getting damaged, you start losing sensations, and nerves being damaged also in the brain could start the onset of Alzheimer's. And also you'll start having bad cholesterol, which is the onset of heart diseases. So these are the problems and difficulties that you have, and that's how you get the start of diseases from that condition. Now, when the cell is able to receive the glucose arrives at the cell and gets burned into energy. You get a production of energy, so you're not tired. You'll have energy the whole day. You'll go to sleep peacefully, and you wake up with energy. You'll be mentally alert. There'll be no more fog. You'll feel calm and relaxed, and whenever there's stress doesn't go away. There'll always be stress, but how does your body cope with stress? You cope with stress much better. You're going to feel motivated. Your concentration will get a lot better. You can focus on things at times as you wish, and your moods will be good. You'll have high moods. So these are the benefits of having glucose burning, which basically is the condition probably that you felt when you were young, when everything was fine, and as life went on, certain habits happened, which has turned out into the opposite of that: your tiredness, your poor memory, bloating, etc., etc. So how does it work now? So let me give a little bit of a description or a little bit of a drawing of this, of how it works. So you have your cell. This is one cell. Those cells will be in your brain, the cell will be in your muscles, the cell will be in your heart. Each body part has got a multiple of cells. So this is one cell, and inside the cell you've got little called energy factories. So there's quite a few of them. So these are your energy factories. It's called mitochondria. They produce energy. So this is where that energy, so when that is working, that's when your energy is produced, that's when you don't get tired. When this is not working, or the nutrients don't arrive there, that's the times when you feel all tired and all. So what happens is, in your body, you're going to be eating food, and then you're going to have sugar in the body, which sugar turns into glucose. So you've got glucose in your blood. And when there's glucose in the blood, your pancreas produces insulin. So then so insulin comes and attaches to that. So what the insulin does, it carries the glucose so that it brings it to the cell, brings it here to the cell. Now at the cell there's what is called a docking site. It docks. So you've got a little site here. It's a docking site. It's called a receptor site. So the insulin arrives here, docks here, and then releases the sugar, and the sugar goes inside the cell. And at the same time also, you're going to have also oxygen arriving at the cells. So when the sugar and the oxygen arrives, they move into the mitochondria. So all the sugar and the oxygen move into the mitochondria, and these two now combine and they produce out comes energy. That's the simplicity of it. So what happens in diabetes is that these receptor sites here, there's a lot of them on the surface of the cell, they are clogged. They are clogged, which means it blocks the passage of sugar and it blocks the passage of oxygen into the cells. So what tends to happen as the insulin and the sugar arrives here, they can't enter. So when they can't enter, the sugars now is staying inside the blood. And that is a very dangerous condition, because the sugar that's in the blood is what damages the nerve cells, damages your eyes and does all that. So now, because there's so much sugar in there, what the insulin does now next, it takes that sugar now, it says it's not allowed to be in there, because it can't go inside here, there's no ways of going inside here, that will turn into fat. So that's what's happened with the sugar. So the sugar that you get in the blood, the excess sugar in the blood, turns into fat. So now your body has less sugar. So when your body has less sugar in your blood, you get now you start getting cravings for sugar. You start getting hungry. That's what hunger is about. Hunger is just telling there's not enough sugar in the blood. So what happens is you want to eat more. So you're going to be eating sweets. You're going to be eating pastries. You're going to be eating bread. You're going to be drinking coffee with lots of sugar in it to give you more sugar. And as you do this, the sugar does not get inside there. You are tired. You have poor memory. And more sugar turns into more fat. And this is where the bulging of the stomach happens. And all happens under the arms and all over the body. You get the fat. And now that fat, some of it is actually in the blood vessels. And that can create now heart diseases as well, because now the fat has got nowhere to go. There is not enough nutrients to get rid of it. So now it stays in there and can start doing blockages. So you start getting blockages in your heart and you can get a heart attack. If you get a blockage in the brain, then that's a stroke. So the problem with fat in the blood is that you need to find a way to actually get rid of that fat. And there are some nutrients that are available that you get in your diet that will actually remove that fat. Now for a heart attack, for example, you'll get a bypass. You'll hear people saying triple bypass, and they had stents and all that put in the arteries. The truth is that works. However, if you do not handle the fat in the blood, in other words, the constant making of the fat or the removal of the fat that has been stuck in the blood vessels that created the blockage, the fat will continue to create more blockages, and you could have another heart attack again, or worse, you could have a stroke, which is in the brain, and get paralysis. So those are the things, the risks that you could be faced with diabetes. So these are things that you can handle, you can do something about it. And then I spoke about the receptor sites. What causes the receptor sites here to be blocked? I mentioned it earlier, what blocks it? What blocks it is actually the oils that you take in your cooking, the cooking oils. Sunflower oil and canola oil. These are very bad oils, and they clog the receptor sites. And when that happens, as I said, you've got the fat that circulates in your blood and the fat that will come and deposit itself on the body. Now that I've covered what are the dangers of diabetes type 2, when glucose is not burning in the cells and all these problems that could happen, and when you reverse it, you get back to where you used to be when you were young, full of energy, mentally alert, calm and relaxed. How do you do that is I'll give you some steps. There's 8 steps that you can take which are solutions to this problem. So I'm going to read each one of them. So step number 1 is to have an 80% alkaline and 20% acid diet. which means you do not have to change what you eat. You do not have to stop something or create. The only thing you're going to stop is junk foods. And junk foods, you can just replace them with the right foods. But with the 80% alkaline food and 20% acid foods, 80% of your diet should be alkaline foods and 20% should be acid foods. When that is in balance, then your body now is able to recover, it's able to heal. If you do not have that percentage, if your diet is over acid foods and less of alkaline foods, the body will have more difficulty of healing. So you would like to heal the body, so bring it in a condition. There's a link that I'll provide which takes you to the acid alkaline list, so you can look at that list and then you choose the foods that are alkaline and increase on that, and the foods that are acid decrease on that. But you need to have 20% acid and 80% alkaline. Get off refined oils, refined margarine. Get off of that. Refined oils means the triple refined sunflower oil, the canola oil. All these oils are very bad because, as I explained to you, this is your cell. Your cell is made of omega-3. It is not made of canola oil. It is not made of sunflower oil or cooking oil. You need the omega-3 oils, and I will give you a list of where you get the omega-3 from. So you have to remove that, otherwise you are building your cells with these oils and you have a blockage in your receptor sites and the sugar does not arrive there. So that's one thing to do. And I've got a list of junk foods. There's a link there as well that you can get. You get the list of junk foods. What it does, it lists what foods are junk foods. And sometimes I've experienced many people think that certain junk foods are actually good foods because of advertising, when you realize that it's not. And I give you alternatives and what to replace them with. Number 3, get omega-3 as supplements now. Omega-3, about 2,000 milligrams of omega-3. It can be flaxseed oil or fish oil. Or you can get them in capsule form, or you can buy them in bottles, and those oils should be kept in the fridge. And a multivitamin and mineral, and the multivitamin should have at least 25 to 50 milligrams of B complex. So make sure you look at that. Some multivitamins are sold quite expensive and they've only got 1 milligram to 5 milligrams of B complex. That you're going to be wasting your money. Find ones that have got 25 to 50 milligrams and they sell at the same price. Antioxidants to protect your omega-3 oils. An antioxidant is, you find them in foods, they protect the oils. So the oils in your cells here, or the oils that are going in your blood, they can get damaged, and antioxidants, they prevent oxidation. In other words, they stop the damage of those cells. So you need antioxidants that you find in foods. It will be that a list will be provided to you as well, which you can get in the links provided. Chromium picolinate. Chromium is a mineral. Chromium picolinate. What it does, the chromium helps take the glucose when it arrives at the docking site. It helps carry the glucose to the energy cells. That's what chromium does. And chromium also helps to make new docking sites. So when you have new docking sites, means more sugar goes into the cells, which means it increases your energy levels. So you'll have energy in the muscles, you'll have energy in the brain, have energy in the heart, and your body is running back to normal. So that's what's required, that's what you're looking for. Ginkgo biloba is a herbal formula, and it helps improve your blood circulation. So what tends to happen is your blood vessels that should be normal, have probably been a little bit of damage here, the circulation has been restricted, your blood pressure goes up. So what ginkgo biloba does, it helps to improve the circulation. And to burn fat, now that you've got fat sitting in the blood vessels, fat sitting here, the body also needs to burn the fat. You need certain nutrients that burns fat, which is vitamin B5, vitamin C, and omega-3. And magnesium. So these are the things. I'll repeat it. Vitamin C, vitamin B5, magnesium, and your B complex. I've explained B complex already in the multivitamin that you take with omega-3. So these are the things. If you don't have these nutrients, those vitamins are not present, fat won't burn. So that helps with the fat burning. And lastly, highly recommended is to get onto a keto diet. A keto diet, what it does is it actually, instead of using sugar from your diet to turn into energy, you starve the body of using sugar, and the body now is made to go and look for the fat to produce energy. And it so happened that when fat turns into energy, it gives a much higher energy levels to a person, you eat less. There's a program that you can follow, so you can go and find out about keto and get involved, and that is one way of getting yourself really healthy and burning fat and recover yourself and get your diabetes gone. That's all I can tell you for that. I hope that I trust this has become enlightening to you and given you some more information and the knowledge that you can use now to actually reverse this condition. If you have diabetes, this is something you can do. If you know anybody else who's got diabetes, please share this video, because this video will enable them to understand how it works and get rid of all the false information that is floating around, all the confusions that you could have been experiencing with diabetes. You can find me on Facebook at Allan Warner's Nutrition Expert. I give you a lot of information there, and from there you can learn other topics as well. I provide also a health consultation. I do an assessment. The assessment is done where I ask you a few questions pertinent to your health, and the answers that you give me gives me an idea of where your problem is sitting. So I advise you where to go, what foods to eat, what supplements to take, and all of that is done on a personal basis. So the program is personalized for you to take you from where you were, where you're at now, and handle the difficulties you're having with your health and bring you back to the health that you want to be, back to the health that you would like to have like you were young, and have those energy levels, wake up energized and feel good. Thank you very much for listening. I trust to hear from you, and from that point on, I wish you a good health based on what you've learned so far.